Welcome to In the Moment with Kortia, where we inform, inspire, and motivate you to be a positive agent of change. On this Motivational Monday, I want to say good morning to Central Louisiana areas, Natchitoches, Gina, Alexandria at 88.1 FM, Monroe, West Monroe on 98.9 FM, Shreveport, Greenwood on 92.5 FM, St. Joseph, Natchitoches, Mississippi on 99.3 FM, and Lake Charles on 100.1 FM. And yet again, Motivational Monday. For all you with your questions or comments, you can call into the radio station at our local number, 318-484-2500, or toll free at 877-464-2500. And we're going to conclude with our second part of what we were talking about on our Fire It Up Friday when we were discussing how to overcome failure. And, and how it really brought out a lot of significant points on that subject matter, and how a lot of us, we deal with, failures that we've had in life. But, the main thing or the main point that we were really trying to get out from Friday is to let you know, don't allow failures to be something that stop you from actually moving forward, but to use it as something that actually helps you to go toward, the God-given dream and destiny that's on the inside of you. So, in saying that, how to overcome failure, part 2. And look, just want to let you know, like I said, just like on Friday, why don't you call into the station, as far as like, why don't you share an experience with us at just how you've actually been able to overcome a particular type of failure in your life, right? So, first off, the main thing, one of the things that I've noticed as far as like if you go through bouts of failure or something that may have happened in your life, okay, it's just to accept how you feel. It is really amazing how a lot of people, when they go through these so-called like downturns in their lives, okay, these failures that we may have, and how so many of us try to cover them up. And I'm really shocked at that. I bear witness to this happening on a consistent basis, every single day. I mean, I'm not just talking about with little kids, how if they did something possibly wrong, it tries to get covered up. I'm talking about from, kids to young adults, however you want to say it. Some kind of way it just seems like it's frowned upon for an individual to actually try to share something that has caused them some type of heartache, some type of pain, why they didn't make it to, whatever level it is. It's just like their peers kind of look at them in an adverse way. And that's really something that really plays into the whole realm of failure with an individual. And it puts a lot of weight on it in a person, because we get this, this mindset that, okay, instead of us trying to pretty much live up to the expectations of what we've actually set for ourselves, or, basically striving for what God has in store for us, many of us tend to try to live our lives based upon, expectations of others. And then, when we quote unquote don't hit those particular expectations, then, those people, unfortunately, that have said, well, they've been with us and they're here with us through this long haul of this journey called life, that if we do something, I guess, that they don't agree with, doesn't line up with their plan, for whatever reason makes them look bad, as they were saying some certain way, whatever the reason or whatever it is someone may give you, we see that as failure. And, it's like God actually brought to me, and, it's like I said, whether you're saved, you're unsaved, like this radio program is for everyone, under the sound of my voice. But the thing that's like really, significant is that I'm amazed by how many people, across the entire spectrum have placed their value, have placed their self-worth in the opinions of others. And, I can say that now I'm amazed because when I was just starting on this journey, so many years ago, it's what I did, was waiting for the approval of an individual who I thought was at a certain level of where I wanted to be, or, waiting on the approval of someone that was close to me in my life, that, if I got that approval from someone that was like a family member, close friend, really close business associate, whatever it may be, that, if they were like that, gave me that, that attaboy, or like you, or maybe that attagirl, to where, you were like, okay, wow, okay, that's really going to affirm just how well that I'm doing. But what ends up happening it's just like a child, okay, to where if you don't really start getting, I guess, these positive affirmations, this attention and everything, you're going to think that, okay, well, maybe I'm failing in some type of way. And, some people actually start, more than likely unintentionally, actually start doing things in a self-destructive sense, to where people tend to start taking more note of that as opposed to the positive things that they're doing. And, you might say, well, what are you talking about, Court? Do you realize there's some people out there that really do things that self-sabotage themselves to cause some type of self-failure just so that they'll have like some type of attention or where eyes will be on them? Have you ever noticed that so many things as far as like in like the entertainment industry, okay? You can see that, let's just say some actor or actress out there, they go out and they do this great movie, wholesome movie, family good movie, and, maybe the newscast, what is that thing, Academy Awards or whatever they call that stuff, to where they get like this simple recognition, and then, it's like one mention and that's it. But let them do something that's considered, bad or some type of failure. I mean, it's like on the media, it's playing up, it's like going all across the country, it's going around the world, they're getting all this airtime. But a lot of people, look and they say, what is the expression that like no publicity is bad publicity, or should I say all publicity is supposed to be good publicity, however they verbalize it. But, they try to use that to basically get themselves more so out there, but they're doing it in a light that's really, not becoming, that shows them as, that valued or quality individual, all right? And, the thing is that when we go through things and when we have these failures, how when I was raised, there's something that would happen in like my family. The whole thing that we was always told, and I'm gonna just put this: you just need to grin and bear it. Okay, just need to grin and bear it. Now it's okay to, okay, something happened in your life and you may not have been successful in a certain way, and you're just like smiling, just like, okay, now I can say if something happens in my life, okay, Lord, what am I supposed to actually glean? What's the lesson in all of this? What am I supposed to, get taught through this entire process? And then if you go into it with that mindset, then what? Your apparent failure is just really going to turn around to be actually another lesson in your life that actually equips you to better handle where he's actually taking you. Because that's just the apparent thing. I mean, one of the greatest stories right now that are actually in the Bible, and I know I'm talking to somebody right in their moment right now, is that, everyone wants to go ahead and talk about Job and all the things that Job went through. And people think that, all of this time with Job, it was like his entire lifetime that happened. But, when you look at it and you chronologic and based upon different things that happened as far as like in a time frame, it was only like a year to 18 months that spanned in that entire lifetime for Job. So all of that happened. Well, look, through the entire process of all the things that happened to him, losing his possessions, money, friends turning on him, kids and everything, being killed, wife telling him he should just curse God and die. I mean, all of these different things. But at the end, everything turned around to where even in all of that apparent failure, where he couldn't understand everything that was going on, and until it came to where he saw exactly how God was right there with him in the midst, okay? On the end result, no matter all of those hardships, okay, he saw just how successful he was because he did not give up his hope, in Jesus, or should I say hope in God at that point in time. But, the thing is that what are we looking at right now as far as like when we're going through what we're going through right now? Are we putting our hopes, okay? Are we putting our dreams? Are we putting our desires? Are we looking towards people to actually give us that attaboy or attagirl? Or are we actually looking towards God to lead God and direct us through the entire process, that we're going through right now, this process that's called life? What is it that's actually guiding us to actually overcome fear? Are we trying to, make the connection and yoke up with different individuals that's going to actually get us to where we want to go based upon, our own self-motivation? Or is it something that's strategic that God is actually doing? And, people always ask me all the time, okay, even when it comes to this, how to overcome failure. How do you know How do you know that it's something of God? How do you know that you're working God's plan? Because I said, you know when you're working God's plan, when you're doing what God's called you to do, because it always feels like you're trying to catch up. Why is that? Because he's always trying to get you to keep moving forward. Somebody got that right there in that moment. You always feel like he's trying to accelerate you and always trying to get you to move forward. So we're talking about how to overcome failure on this Motivational Monday. And like I said, when we come back from break, make sure that you have why don't you share, like I said, the experience of how God got you over about a failure in your life. Stay tuned and we'll get right back to you in your moment. Welcome back to In the Moment with Kortia Kuzan on this Motivational Monday. Phone lines are open, local number 318-484-2500 and toll free at 464-2500 to call in and share an experience of how you have overcome failure in your life. And like I said, we're talking about how to overcome failure, and it's like I said, a lot of the things that happen in our lives, I would say that I'm sure you can actually agree with me because, like I said, first partaker of all of these things, some things that actually happen in our lives that if we don't actually get past them, it can actually lead us into a downward spiral that will touch into every single area of our life. And failure to one isn't the same as failure to another. Now, myself, like I told you before, the thing that really set my life on a very downward spiral in one broadcast was when my grandmother actually passed away when I was 16 years of age, because I put so much of my, thought processes. She's always going to be there, person that loved me the most, so on and so forth. And then, of course, when she actually passed away, I started relating her death to like every area of my life. Okay, well, wow, if she passed away, then, God must not be real. Then if she passed away, then who's actually going to show me love? If she passed away, who's going to be somebody that tries to encourage me? All of these different things. You see what I'm saying? How one instance in your life, you can actually start, formulating in your mind. And just like I said, in your mind, catching you in your moment right now, formulating in your mind just how it just plays out, and it weighs on so many other areas of your life, to where instead of me actually, what can you say, kind of like snapping to reality of what did that really mean for everything that was going on in my life, instead of me actually pretty much kind of making stuff up. That's the best way I can explain it, and how it really sent me to a dark and dangerous place in my life. But for different things that happen in our lives, and for different setbacks that we actually have, that's just it. It's just a setback, okay? You're not a failure just because you have a setback in life. And a lot of us, we see, how can I put it this way? Okay. A lot of us have different plans in our lives, okay? A lot of us have different things that are going on in our lives. A lot of us have time frames about, hey, when I reach this age, I expect this to happen, and then you want to secure those goals and get them on your check off list. And okay, you've got another set of goals that you want to have. And I hope some of you actually have goals out there in life. Okay. You've got to have something you've got to shoot for in life. But a lot of us, that if we don't hit those particular goals, we see it as a setback. We see it as a failure. And I've shared before, it's just like so many people right now, okay, say like today, you've gotten up, on this Motivational Monday, you've got things that need to be accomplished, okay? It seems like out of all days of the week, it just seems like Monday just is the day. It's the day where you have so much that you need to actually get done, or so much if you're a parent that you need to get done for your kids, or so whatever it may be. But if you've got this list, and say like if you got 10 things on this list, and you get up and you step out the door, and you've either got this meeting, you've got this interview, you're about to get this new client, working out, whatever it is, and you get like 8 things done on that particular list, all right? Some people would actually see that as, okay, well, wow, I really didn't utilize my time correctly. I didn't get everything done. Man, I really failed to utilize this day. Man, this is just a failure situation. But yet you've gotten 80% of the things accomplished that you wanted to get done. So why do you think a lot of people will actually see that as a failure or a setback instead of seeing it that, you've actually succeeded? Because I would actually have to say that, something, we have this thing of distorted perception of what it is that's valuable or what is of value that we need to actually accomplish in our daily life. Now, what I mean, you may actually have, like I said, if any of you ever had business and about prioritizing different things, like the things that are more important, you classify in an A category, secondary B, next thing D, and things that you hope that you can get done, but you possibly won't get done, you put it like a D category. Now, if you actually looked at your list and saw that the things that you possibly didn't get done, like say, okay, I want to go ahead and sweep the house, and you had like a D rating about that, why would you actually just classify that as like, okay, I failed at this particular point in time? You can just defer it to the next day, or you can actually have somebody to get it done, as far as like in your family, or if it's on your the job where you work. Sometimes we end up having setbacks and we think that things are failure because why? We try to do everything ourselves, okay? And you cannot do that in life. I don't care how smart, knowledgeable, how efficient you think you are. There's going to come a certain time in your life to where you're actually going to have to ask for help. Nowhere along this journey that you call life, okay, when you're going and you're battling with how to overcome fear, there's not one time in your life to where you're actually going to be able to say, I've never had to ask for help. But what ends up happening, and I had this conversation with some brothers yesterday in ministry, there are so many people out there that are just hurting on the inside, okay? And all they need to do is just open their mouths and ask for help. But what ends up happening? Some of us get into a state to where things are just falling to pieces in our lives, okay? And just because we're so prideful and don't want anyone to know what's actually going on, and I'm talking about men, and I'm talking about women, I'm talking about everyone under the sound of my voice, right now, right where you are in your moment, all we have to do is simply open our mouths and just say, hey, I need help. I need help in this certain category. I've tried everything that I know how to do, and I need help. Just like I said on yesterday, sometimes some of us just don't realize that the breakthrough that we're looking for might be sitting right on side of us. It could be that person that you're around every single day, someone that you go to church with every Wednesday, every Sunday, or whenever you have church. It could be a family member. It could be a coworker. You just never know. But until you actually open your mouth, and I'm just talking about with people that, you've got to be mindful of those people that will probably go out there and just, want to just blurt out what your business is. But those that God actually leads you towards, you need to be really mindful that those may be the people that God has actually placed in your life to actually help you. But what? It's really going to take you actually just reaching out and just saying, okay, I need this help. I need this course correction. I need someone to help me show me why is it that every time I get to a certain point in my life, it seems like I'm always having this setback, okay? So whatever failure that you might have today doesn't mean you're going to have that same failure tomorrow, okay? And a lot of us, because something happens in our life like right now, okay, we hold on to that thing, and we hold on to that thing like it's a death grip. It's like, okay, if I didn't make it or this didn't work for me today, we hold on to that and we use that apparent failure as a reference point as we try to go further in life. So it's basically like, why is it that an individual would actually take something that's not good for their lives and just carry it around with them all the time? It's like for whatever reason, that it's bad to sniff bleach, okay? Continually. All right. We know we can put a little bleach in our laundry for the white clothes and all of that. But what happens if you're in a room and you've got the cap off of the jug of bleach and you keep having the bleach fumes? Eventually you're going to start, getting a headache. It's going to cause you to get woozy, and it's going to start having a really bad and adverse effect on you, even though it's good for cleaning, disinfecting, and all those other things. Well, why would you actually stick yourself in a room with the bleach all the time, okay, when you know it's going to have a certain reaction or you're going to have an adverse effect to it over a long term, okay? Why would you do that? It's the same thing. And why would you keep a certain moment in your life that may be considered failure and you keep carrying that thing around with you, and it's going to play havoc in your life for every door that God is trying to actually take you in? It's basically like you're going to taint something without actually trying something first, okay? It's basically like as soon as you're like, oh, I see, I can actually do this, but then you're going to look at this failure you're carrying around, or this apparent failure, and you're going to literally, as I've seen with so many people, start to, talk yourself out of an opportunity that's right in front of you. And a lot of us right now, we talk ourselves out of an opportunity because what? He's about to say it. Here goes that dirty 4-letter word again. Because a lot of things that's going to get us out of that mode of failure is actually going to require work. It really, really does. Now, we actually need to learn how to be very constructive and, kind of get trained or taught in the situations that we're in. So what is that? Most of us, if we're being real, most of us, you are going to get taught more in this life going through adverse situations instead of every single thing that's just sunshine and clovers every day. Hey, that's just being real with you. That's just life how it is. Now, you can get up every day and you can say, wow, this thing now in my life is on cruise control. And I would ask you to be really careful if you're in that mode right now to where it seems like your life is going on in cruise control. Because just like driving a car, when you're in cruise control, okay, if you hit a hard enough bump, okay, a hard enough bump in the road called life, it's going to knock you right out of cruise control. And then what's going to happen? You're going to have to really struggle and grab quickly to try to have that course correction. But if you're like mindful of your surroundings, okay, mindful of the things that's going on, if you keep your eyes on the lookout for those adverse situations that are driving in other vehicles that may be all around you, if you see that people aren't steering, the mechanism, their vehicle of life the right way, then what ends up happening? You've become more aware, you become more sharp at the things that may affect you. And it's like I said, we're using like this analogy of driving in the vehicle, but what? It's the perfect analogy to let you know that a lot of things that may cause setbacks, a lot of things that may be delays, a lot of things that you may think that might be coming against you, a lot of those things you're not actually going to have control over. But what's going to happen? As long as you look at these things and find out exactly how to utilize those things and use those things and capitalize on them, they're really going to be things that are going to be, like I said, stepping stones to help get you towards that level of success that God has for you. Look, we're talking about how to overcome your failure. We're talking about how to stay in your moment through Christ Jesus. And we're talking about how through this Motivational Monday, you're going to carry this through your entire day. Stay in your moment with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to In the Moment with Kortia Cruz. And on this Motivational Monday, phone lines are open, family. You can call into the radio station, our local number, 318-484-2500, or toll free at 877-464-2500. And we're continuing on our second and final part of how to overcome failure on today. And we really actually need to remind ourselves that, anyone who values life, person that wants to do something in life, they should expect some degree failure to actually happen or transpire in your life. I mean, it's just going to happen, okay? One of the greatest ways to actually show an example of this is that, look, every person that goes out for any kind of sports, for some of you that have played sports, or maybe you've gone out for, let's just say for band or whatever it is to where you've been competitive, not every single person can actually say, okay, every time I've tried out for this or tried out for that, I've made like first team. Some people have started out at second string. Some people have gone out to third string, and then they had to actually show themselves, practice, and do what's necessary to get up to like that first string level. But even if you started out, all right, as a first string player per se, to where you were supposed to be the best of the best on your team, even in that regards, eventually you're going to have some type of setback to where maybe you didn't run a play correctly. Maybe you had a certain time that you had to run as far as in training that you didn't hit. Whatever it is, there are certain setbacks that actually happen. But what's really evident is this. Most of the time, we often only hear about a person's successes, okay? You're not really seeing things about highlighting about how this person's failed or that person's failed. A lot of times we really hear about just the successes of a lot of people, quote unquote, famous people, well-to-do people, hearing about their successes. And it puts us in the mind frame of how what they've accomplished is just so much in a realm of being unattainable for us. Because we're talking about, how to overcome failure, but we're also in this day and age, the things that people are going through and how, wow, I don't ever see myself being able to attain that. Like the owner of Amazon, okay? This guy is the richest man right now, I think, currently in the world. And, you say, wow, it would be awesome to have that level of income coming in, to have a business that's actually thriving like that. But, we see that. Now, what's interesting, as Amazon progressed and it started to get out there, just like so many of these other companies and stuff, and like I say, I'm not trying to plug Amazon, just as an example, but, how we don't see what happened before all of this notoriety and things that came about, okay? We don't see at how they had to hit certain milestones, just like some of the people that we think that are successful in life. We don't see what they had to do in the beginning to actually get to where they are right now. Just like, with this show, In the Moment with Kortia Kuzan, okay? It's a part of the On Point Talk family, okay, of the broadcast that we have. On Point Talk with Carlette Christmas, the Sin Law Spiritual Hour, and all the many other programs that God is bringing out. You don't see what happened in the beginning, when the two founders, when David and Carlette started out in this. You don't see it how people told them that, they weren't going to make it past 6 months. You don't see how people wasn't giving them the breaks. You don't see how, individuals that they thought were close, to them were saying, I don't see how you're actually going to make this or whatever. Hey, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Hey, why don't you just get a job? All of the different things that came about. You don't see how things started out in the beginning, but a lot of people take note of the success that you have right now, the things that you're doing right now, how you have influence in the community right now, how, people are coming to you right now. People don't see what happened in the beginning. They focus on the right now. But, it's milestones that happen, and it's just like in the movies, okay? When you go to see a movie, whether you realize it or not, when you're watching the movie and the little guy, the underdog, as we call them, okay? You don't get drawn to the little guy because you get a scene in the beginning as far as like it shows them and how successful and how they've overcome different things. The thing that draws you into the underdog is that it takes you to the beginning of, how they either got mistreated, how they either got hurt in the beginning, something that happened that was in a bad way to where they were portrayed as this failure. And then through the movie, it takes you through this thing of how they had to go through this situation, how they had to overcome this, how people turned their back on this particular individual. I'm talking to somebody right now in that moment. How they didn't actually have the knowledge to actually go forth in a certain area, whatever it may be. You were drawn in by these quote-unquote failures of their life. And then when they finally brought it all to a clear picture to you, and it showed you their image in the first part of the movie where it showed them as being successful, then you were able to relate to that person. And then you actually say, wow, as it happened with their life, and man, what happened in their life was totally worse than what's going on in my life. I can do it. You see what I'm saying? It's amazing how so many people try to project the greatness of what's going on in their life right now, and because of embarrassment or because of how they may look to certain individuals, a lot of people try to hide what they've actually gone through. And those things that you went through are actually the main things that people need to hear in your life to let them know, hey, guess what? I can be a positive agent of change just like you. And I have something that, is really going to stick out because so many of you out there, Michael Jordan fans, and this is something that probably will just amaze you, that, through his career, I was actually not a Michael Jordan fan. It wasn't because of his skill level or anything like that. I guess I wasn't a Michael Jordan fan just because of how so many people actually, I'm going to just flat out say it was almost like they worshiped him, It was just like, okay, Michael Jordan is awesome, but people don't realize no matter what Michael Jordan did until he actually got the pieces that came in place, like the Scottie Pippen, the Dennis Rodman, the Steve Paxton, the Stephen Curry, all these different people that started to come into his life. That's when he started to actually winning the championships. That's when he started to win the games. And I know he accomplished a lot of things, that were people would say successful, but really the Bulls didn't really get the notoriety till really all of the pieces came in place. And Michael Jordan even said, and I have a quote for you, he said, I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I failed over and over and over again in my life, and that's why I succeed. Did you hear that? I've got to read that again from Michael Jordan. I missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I failed over and over and over again in my life. And that is why I succeed. Somebody that's considered probably the greatest player in all of basketball, maybe even all of sports for some people, okay? And this man, even though I wasn't the biggest fan or big fan of Michael Jordan, respect him for actually being able to go ahead and say that his success came from all of his failures. Now, if someone that's looked at around the world, okay, as probably one of the greatest, if not the greatest sports figures ever, is saying that, he attributes all of his success to the failures that he's had, what are you doing right now? Why are you downplaying everything that's going on in your life right now and saying that you are less than nothing because of all the apparent failures that you've had? When this man is actually saying missing 9,000 shots, lost over 300 games, 26 times he's missed the last opportunity shot in games, and then how he said failed over and over and over and over and over again. And how many people out there right now that have these so-called successful businesses, these corporations and everything that have gone to play, all of these people that you may be looking up to, if you actually delve into their lives, they will tell you, if they've been honest, that they have been taught or they've learned to be successful because of all of their failures. How do you overcome failure? Realize that failure is a stepping stone to get you towards success. How do you overcome the setbacks and how you look at yourself each and every time you get in the mirror? To just let you know that it is actually a stepping stone to get you into the moment that God is calling you to. What's it going to take, family, to actually allow you to see that you are not a failure in this life just because you've had certain setbacks in your life? What's it going to take that every so often you're not going to hit that game-winning shot in your life? What's it going to take to actually realize that as you go through your moment, as you allow God to lead, God, and direct you, as you allow him to show you his will, plan, and purpose for your life, then guess what? You're going to have some type of rough situations in your life that's going to actually help you to get out of that mindset of being a failure to bring you into a success in Christ Jesus. Family, you're in your moment. Capitalize it, utilize it, and we'll be right back after the break. Welcome back to In the Moment with Kortia Kuz, and on this last portion of the show today. Look, this is Motivational Monday, and look, I'm believing that God has already inspired you and, fired you up as far as like how to overcome failure starting off on today. And, like I said, never was a Michael Jordan fan, but I really respect the man for being able to be as open as he was with the quote that I gave you right before the break, because it was really inspiring to know that someone, no matter what the world may think of him as far as like how great of a ball player that he was, that he said that all of his failures that he actually had was the thing that actually culminated to make him as successful as he ended up being. And, just like so many of us, we need to actually take that in this game of life and utilize it to where we see that all of the things that have actually happened in our life, like I said, to grow from that, to actually go further and higher in, what God is calling us to do. And, like I said, when you have a setback or you have this apparent failure in life, okay, it's just like training. It really is. It is just like training. You train, and then, of course, you see that something is working. You tweak it and improve upon it. But if you see if something's not working for you, then guess what? You stop doing it. Now, it seems like an oversimplification, but it really is that easy. It really is that simple. But for whatever reason, a lot of us keep doing the things that we're doing just because why? It's always the things that we've been doing. And just because of the people that we pretty much socialize with or in our circle, whatever it may be, because they're doing the same things, we think that it's actually the thing to do. But if you're getting, certain type of results and not the results that you're actually looking for as far as like in life, and it's the same thing with the people around you, you may just want to kind of, branch out from your so-called quote-unquote circle of friends right there, or your associations that you may have. Now, I'm not trying to tell you to turn your back on people that are close to you, but look, if you're actually trying to get somewhere in life, okay, if you're trying to really overcome failure and you're around people that have the same type of mental mindset at that level that you're on, and you just cannot seem to go any further, or like I've said many times, you seem to always be the smartest person in your group of influence, then you really need to actually just stretch out and get out of that so-called comfort zone. And if things are actually happening in your life, that are causing you to actually have what you would say certain type of failures, let it come to light, okay? Stop allowing things to be on the inside of you. Stop letting things to be bottled up, because certain things that you try to hold them back so that people don't know about it, I'm sure you can relate to this. If you try to hold things back about everything's just all nice, little sunshiny and happy in your life, to where it just seems like, it's happened to all of us, to where you seem to like just explode on someone for no apparent reason. Just like the pressure just comes out and you don't know why. They're looking at you like, wow, what really just happened? To where a certain situation happens and people just like, okay, something must be going on in your life. You want to talk about it. But then in the beginning, what ends up happening, the enemy tries to make you feel ashamed, tries to make you think that you're being self-destructive, but it's literally showing you exactly what type of pressures you've allowed to build up on the inside of you. And we need to find inspiration and support from the world as far as like around us. Now, I'm not talking about taking just worldly examples, okay? But why not actually look at say like if whatever you're doing, all right, look at examples of people that are in your mind or what you see that are quite possibly doing something similar to what you are doing. Look at the things that they're doing correctly, the things that they're doing right, and it may actually help you to actually have a course correction to stop going along this same pathway of failure that you may have been on. I mean, you'd be amazed at if you just, for some reason, okay, a lot of people, I really want to get in shape. I want to get in shape, but I just don't have the time. You'd actually be amazed that possibly if you got up 30 minutes earlier, or if you actually stopped with the cutting out the television. Think about all of the television that you watch in a given week. What if you actually took that time instead of rushing home to, okay, I've got such and such program that's coming on and I've got to be there for it, okay? Why not, many people got like a DVR, you can record those things. You can record those things later. So why don't you actually go ahead and take that time to actually go to the gym? Okay, why don't you take that time to, even when you're at home, if you got a piece of workout equipment that you're probably hanging your clothes on, why not actually turn the TV on, watch your program, and walk on the treadmill or get on the elliptical or whatever it is? There's always a way to get something accomplished. But look, how bad do you want it? That's the whole thing. How bad do you want to get out of this cycle of failure? How do you actually want to overcome this bout of failure that you have? We can use excuse after excuse for situations, circumstances, people, finances. You can paint whatever kind of picture you want, but how bad do you want what you say you want in life? And, definitely, we need to not get stagnant or get stuck in that so-called moment of failure. We need to keep moving forward, and we don't need to keep continually mull over the situation for too long. Yes, okay, I may not have hit the mark in this particular area, but guess what? I'm going to analyze it. I'm going to look at it. I'm going to see what's happening in my life, see what I could have did better, see exactly what I may keep repeating in this area, and then what? Once I've actually gleaned, I've been taught the lesson right here, I'm going to keep moving forward, okay? That's the thing, to always keep moving forward. Just like I told you in the first part of the broadcast today, how do you know something is of God? Because you always feel that when you're working God's plan, it always feels like you're trying to catch up. And I told you the reason that is because you always feel like you're trying to catch up because God is always making sure that you're always moving forward. You're in your moment. You're in your moment. If you didn't realize that God is talking to you right now as you're right now in your moment. But allow that experience that you're gaining through each and every one of these moments to be the thing to lay the groundwork to actually grow you up, okay? And then you need to actually, take action, on that plan right away. Whatever plan that you've actually drawn up for yourself, okay, and we all go through it. I go through it even today. You go through these ups and downs. You're like this tidal wave, the rise of the waves, to where, you've got this plan. You're working your plan one day. You put minimal effort in another day. You're really working your plan one day, minimal effort then one day, and then possibly a day you don't do anything whatsoever. And then you get to that point of when you don't do anything, then it becomes one day you don't do anything, 2 days you don't do anything, turn around a week's going by, turn around a month's going by, and then what happens? Total stagnation. You stop working your plan, and then all of a sudden what ends up happening for a lot of us? We get these guilt-ridden feelings. We start comparing where we are to other people. I had to speak to someone on yesterday, And literally, people think this way because they actually had something that happened to them in a traumatic sense. I think it was a bad car accident that they had to recover from. Just because of them listening to where other individuals were, they thought that they were not being as successful as they needed to be, just because people that started out where they did were further along in the process than they were. And I had to tell them, okay, look, this door is still open. God is letting you know that he's still right here with you. You have an opportunity for people that are here to encourage you and be right here with you. And don't allow the enemy to make you think that because you had a traumatic experience in your life, that because you're not, quote unquote, where you need to be according to your plan, as long as you keep working the plan and you're doing it to glorify and honor God, then guess what? God isn't just going to take you step by step. The analogy that I use, a lot of times God will treat you just like a football game, like he's the field goal kicker and you're the football. Sometimes that God will just take you right where you are because you're doing what you're called to do, and he will send you straight through the uprights to get you to the next level. I'm talking to somebody right now. And then look, definitely improve your self-esteem through this entire process. You will not, if you haven't realized, it's the biggest bout that you will actually go through when it comes to how to overcome failure is going to be through your self-esteem. Because look, there are going to be some days, and I'm just going to be real with you because I've been there. There are going to be some days where you feel less than dirt just because of stuff that's going on in your life. You really will. Okay. And like I said, I'm not trying to paint you this picture that, I've never gone through anything. My family's never gone through anything. And I've never been around people that have never gone through anything. But what are you going to do when those moments come up? Are you actually going to allow those failures to be something that drag you down? Or are you actually going to recover from them quickly? Are you going to actually see that it's something that's going to make the transition or the process that's coming ahead, as you're going to be able to use those things to actually accelerate and actually see how it's going to be easier, how it's going to give you more clarity, give you more of an understanding as far as like where God is taking you, see exactly how God's been with you all along in your moment when you don't see things are happening. What are you going to do to overcome those failures in life? Are you actually going to be like Michael Jordan and one day allow people to read your story, and then all of a sudden they're going to open a book of your life, open a book of the great story that you're going to write, and they're going to say, look at what this individual has done. They failed here. They failed there. They had adversity here. They had adversity there. But look at what they did. Look at how they overcome. Look at how they have utilized their moment. Look at how God just showed up and showed out in their life. Family, you're in your moment. God is showing you how to overcome fear. He's showing you how to stay in your moment. And he's showing you, guess what? That you are truly gloriously and wondrously made in his life and in his image in you. So stay in your moment and look, catapult on it, utilize it, and know that you are more than able in Christ Jesus. Stay in your moment, and we'll see you when we come back tomorrow on Terrific Tuesday. Take care, and God bless you.